Hey guys, hello my friends. um, I'm here in the office and I came here because I was going to record something else, but then my camera did not have the memory card in it because I'm an idiot. So I'm just on the webcam here at the office, have my old blue microphone and stuff like that. So obviously not the best quality, but I wanted to just check in with you guys and give you a few updates. I haven't talked to you guys in a while, haven't put out a lot of content recently for YouTube, so wanted to just talk for a bit and give you some updates on stuff. First off, so I am in California. I'm in Southern California in the area affected by the Thomas fires, the ones that have been raging for, God, I don't even know how long now, and they're still raging on. As you can see back there, the winds are picking up again, and it's not a good day for the fires, I'm sure. I wanted to say that, while there are a lot of people who are very, very heavily affected by the fires, my family, we're doing well. We live in a city that's really well insulated, so we don't get, we don't have a lot of brush around us. We don't, there was no risk of the fire really coming to us unless it got just outrageously crazy, which it already is, but we were fine. But even, just the city surrounding us had problems. The city just north of us, a lot of it burned down, a lot of houses were lost. The main mental hospital, one of the main mental hospitals in the area burned down, which is just crazy from, my side of things. And, it's spreading northward and it's not done yet. So it's been really devastating. A lot of our friends and family have had to evacuate. Um, well, friends, not necessarily family. All of our family lives farther south, but a lot of our friends have had to evacuate. And for me, clinical work has been way up in the air. The week of the fires that they first started, basically my entire week was canceled because everybody, who I was seeing as patients, they all lived in the affected areas. So I have a lot of people, from Ventura, from Ojai, from Santa Barbara, all these areas in California that are being affected by the fires. So things have just been really up in the air and kind of crazy around here. The first night of the fires, we lost power, and so we had just recently gotten a bunch of emergency supplies thanks to my wife's anxiety. She got really anxious one day out of the blue and was like, "We need to prep." So she went and Amazon bought way too much stuff, but then it ended up coming in handy. So I guess that's how anxiety keeps you safe sometimes. But yeah, so we were just using all the supplies from that, like the lanterns that we had gotten and stuff. And when we went to sleep that night, it was really eerie because out our bedroom window, we're laying on your side, look out the window, you see the fire flickering over the hills. So we're going to sleep with the fire as like a nightlight, which was odd and not good sleep. But things have been pretty normal now. I actually did a whole podcast episode about mentally what you can do when you're in a disaster situation, and also what you can do in the wake of a disaster situation where you're trying to regain normality even as it's still going on, because you can't just pause life for weeks and weeks and weeks. You have to sort of try to live a normal life. So if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, you should check that out. It's the Hardcore Self-Help Podcast, and I did a whole deep dive episode about that issue. All that is to say that we're doing good. We're all right, and we'll continue to be all right. But send your positive thoughts up to this area because it's outrageous still. The air quality's been bad too. Even though we're in a pretty good area, I've still been getting bloody noses all the time, and my asthma hasn't been happy. Depending on the time of the day, the wind blows back, and we get smoke all in the air and stuff like that. We haven't been able to go outside a whole lot, which Remy, my little boy, is not happy about, but gotta keep him safe. By the way, last night, Remy, he's coming up on 2. He'll be 2 in February. He said "but" for the first time, which was hilarious. I was playing with he had a bear. I was changing him, like, "Bear," and he was saying "Buh, bear, bear," and then I pointed his butt. I'm like, "But." He goes, "But," which cracked me up. Speaking of babies, we are having another one. Most of you guys are aware of that, hopefully. We're having our second child. It's going to be another boy. His name is Leo. He's coming at the end of January. Actually, maybe like the last third of January. We're still playing with the due date. My wife has gestational diabetes, which she had last time too. So the doctors sometimes are a little bit more cautious about when the baby comes out. So I'll let you guys know what's going on with that, and obviously when he gets here, we'll be able to meet him, and I'll show him off to you guys and stuff like that, because you guys have been along for the whole ride. Appreciate the support and just the love for my family. So definitely be excited about that. Recently, I've also been working on an online course. I don't think I've touched base with you guys, the YouTube community, about that yet, but I'm working on an online course for anxiety. It's a really big project, and it's something that isn't going to be released very soon. It'll be, a matter of months, probably, hopefully sometime within the first few months of next year. But I'm in the process of still recording for it. But basically, it's going to be a 10-week course, and it's going to be very extensive. It's going to be a 10-week course. Each week or module is going to have 3 different sections to it. Within each of those sections, there's going to be videos of me talking to you about the different aspects of anxiety. So far, I've already recorded things about what is anxiety in general, behavioral strategies for anxiety, breathing strategies, cognitive, so thinking strategies. And the whole point is it's really breaking it down in a very relatable way, just like my books are. The course itself is going to be called Kick Anxiety's Ass. So it's going to be, taking a sort of nonchalant approach, but really giving you the real information as well, just breaking it down in a relatable way. So I've been coming to the office on the weekends. I go like this because the other office is over here. On the weekends and in the mornings, and just recording the videos and editing them up. So it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be on Teachable, which is a really nice platform for hosting online courses. And it'll be a lot of content. It's gonna be a ton of content, but also well digestible. There's gonna be written content, assignments, things like that. There'll be 2 different versions of it, and one of them is going to be a self-guided where you can go through at your own pace and just go through it. The other one's going to be guided by me, and that's going to be limited to 10 spots only. So basically, I'm going to be taking 10 people through it. It's going to be more expensive, but there's going to be a community around it where we have our own private group. Going to be checking in weekly with you, doing live streams to go through the different assignments and the aspects, making sure everybody's understanding what's going on, which is why it's limited to 10 people. So it'll be very personalized. So there will be 2 versions of it, and I'll keep you guys aware of what's going on. At some point when I get closer to the launch, I'll give you guys a whole section of it to go through for free to see if you like it or not. And if you do, you can sign up for like the pre-order and be ready right when it goes for a discount. So like I said, I'll keep you guys aware of that, but it's something that I'm working on right now, and that's really one of my big projects in the background. Obviously it's taken a little bit of time away from everything else, just like anything that I do. It's all a balancing act. If you do this thing, that means you don't have time to do this, and vice versa. My clinical work, my job, here as a psychologist has been really intensive and time consuming too. A lot of it is writing. Say I see somebody for testing, and I test them for 3-4 hours. That's 4 hours, and then the rest of the 6 hours or so that I spend on their case is me scoring and writing. So it's a lot of just I have to score all their assessments, comparing them to their normative population, whatever their age is, whatever their education level is. Then I get those scores, throw them into my report, and I have to go through, do a full history on them, interpret all those scores, and then go through and actually pull everything together and say, what does this look like? What are the potential diagnoses here? What sort of issues do they need to watch out for? Recommendations for them and for like the referring doctors. So it's a lot of work, and I do a lot of just sitting in my office writing, which is why I if you guys haven't signed up for my email list, I actually sent out an email recently about all the weird shit that I watch while I'm writing. So things from people building stuff to tiny kitchen things to there's a lot of food stuff, peaceful cuisine, Cinefix, like all these just random videos that I watch because I'm always kind of by myself writing, so I like to have some company of videos, probably much like a lot of you guys watch my videos. But yeah, so that's something that's been taking up some of my time. Basically, I have a what do you call it, like a system for it. Basically, I go through and I decide, I already know which modules I'm going to have, so all the 10 different topics, but then when I decide that I'm going to start working on one of the modules, like this week was the cognitive, the thinking patterns and stuff like that. So I'll go through, I'll brainstorm everything that I want to say about the topic, and then I'll sort of break those out into 3 categories. Then I'll sit down and put those categories together, and then I'll go through some other resources, other books, other textbooks, things that I have, and then see if there's anything from there that's applicable that I need to pull in and add to those to flesh it out a little bit more. Then I actually go through and write a script. Then I come in here and record the script on camera. It's not like it's actual face-to-face. It's not me like reading through the script or anything like that. So that takes a bit of time. I'm not the best at memorizing the script, so I gotta work hard at that. And then go back home and edit them and put together all of the written content for it. So it is a time-consuming process, but it's one that I'll be able to offer this course several times a year, and will be evergreen. It'll be there forever. So it's something that I'm really happy about investing some time into, and I'm really ready to move it forward. Another thing on the professional work side of things, I recently had a book proposal. So one of my, it's really sort of a bucket list item. I want to publish a book with a traditional publisher. What I mean by that is my two books that I have right now, three books technically, that I have right now are self-published, meaning I wrote them, I did everything, I submitted them to a self-publishing company, so I published them through Amazon on Kindle, also CreateSpace, which is their sort of print on demand system, so they can print off books and send them to people, and on Audible. And I recorded the Audible myself, produced it, everything like that. I did it all on my own, and they've been really successful for me. I'm not complaining about that at all. They've changed the course of my life. They're a major source of income for me. It's really something that's been amazing. But one of the differences is that self-published books, they can't be sold in stores for the most part. Reason being is they don't offer returns on them for stores. So if a store buys 100 of my book and they don't sell them, they won't be able to send them back. So oftentimes most bookstores will not, at least in their brick and mortar locations, will not sell self-published books. But if you go through a traditional publisher, so somebody, say Simon & Schuster or Penguin or any of these other publishing houses, they have resources to distribute you to those stores. So my goal is I would really like to write a book that you can go into Urban Outfitters and at the checkout counter look over at the table and see, oh, there's this book that sticks out to me, let me grab that too. That's my goal. I would like to have a book that has that sort of distribution and those legs behind it. And I've had a few publishers, quite a few of them contact me over the past few years about working with me because of the success of my self-published books. But I've just really, really been waiting for a good fit and waiting for a project that I would like to do. And there's one company in particular, I'm not going to name them, but they've reached out to me twice. They did last year, and we talked about, we made a proposal, I've talked about writing another book about anxiety, sort of similar to my hardcore self-help series, but just sort of tangential to that, a little bit more of like a workbook. And everything went through. They really loved the proposal, and they made an offer to me. And the offer was something that I didn't feel comfortable with, and they did not want to wiggle much on the offer, so I walked away from it. Well, recently they contacted me again, asking if we wanted to work together, and I said, okay, well, you remember last time, we couldn't reach an acceptable number. Are you willing to be more, flexible on that? And they said yes, so made another proposal. This one was different. This one was one that I actually really like, and I do want to write this book. So the idea was writing a book about modern mental health, which is basically, given the craziness of our world, the fast-paced aspect of it, the political landscape, the internet age, things that have to do with texting, technology, all this crap, just at how messed up and crazy our world is, what you can do to sort of adapt the classic self-help strategies to fit with the world right now, right? So that was the hope to write that, and they really liked the proposal, but they wanted to skew it a bit. They wanted to make it into less of the terms. They initially contacted me because they wanted an edgy self-help title, which is, I guess, what my books qualify as. Really, they're just expressions of my personality, but they wanted an edgy self-help title. And so I gave them this, and it does have that, that flavor of it. It's about how fucked up the world is and how we can, use these old strategies and update them to make them fit that. And they liked it a lot, but they wanted to ease off the edgy part. I feel dumb saying that. They wanted to ease off the edgy part and make it a straightforward digital detox title, which I didn't like. I don't want to do that. I can't really take myself, I can, but I don't want to take my personality out of the equation. And like, if you read my book, which is called Fuck Anxiety, and it was called something else like Anxiety Made Simple, you would open it up and be like, whoa, I didn't expect this, right? And so I don't want the same thing to happen with the title that's misleading, like, oh, mental health in the technology age or something like that. And then you open it up and it's me and my personality, which is a little bit more colloquial, a little bit more silly and stuff like that. So, we didn't see eye to eye on that, and I worried about some of the comments that were made about how they interpreted the work that I wanted to do, and so we ended up not coming to an agreement on that. They did plan to, so they said, we like the proposal, we want to move forward with this, but we do want to make some changes. And I said, no, I don't want to make those changes. Not trying to be difficult about it, but there's some fundamental things that I don't want to budge on. If they wanted to uh, work with me on some of the areas, that would have been fine. But, the thing is, I don't need this right now. I'm working on my course. I have other things going on. This was an opportunity that popped up that I thought, okay, let's see how this goes. But um, as far as I'm concerned, it's about the long game, and I don't need to do something like this. I don't need to jump on something like this. And there are other publishers that have contacted me before that I could easily reach out to with this project if I want to. But again, like I said, I've kind of fallen in love with this concept and this idea. So this is probably a book that I'm going to write at some point, whether it's with a publisher or whether it's by myself again. But right now, maybe it was just meant to be that I'm not going to be working on it for this moment. I did get a lot of nice outlining done. I got a whole chapter list and a first chapter and stuff like that. So I got a jump start on it. But for now, I'm not going to be doing that. So it's kind of disappointing, but also kind of good to just know where I stand. And as tough as it is to have something right there and then kind of walk away from it, it is nice to know that the ball is in my court. This is really my decision about whether I want to compromise on these things or not. And I told this publisher, they're like, well, could we get back to you again in the future if it seems like this is something that would really fit with us and with the the current market? And I said, no. I mean, you can, but the only circumstances that I would have you contact me again are if you had a very competitive offer that you're not screwing around with me. I'm not interested in hearing a low ball. If you have a competitive offer and you're willing to accept my my influence and my expertise on the subject, and certainly you can provide notes and things like that, but you got to trust that I know what I'm doing and I have a good track record in this field. So basically, if they're going to get back to me, it's going to be definitely on my terms, and that's going to be a good thing. Otherwise, I'm still waiting, and there's no point to trying to rush it. It's about the long game, So that's the book, how that's going. I wanted to say a couple things about the YouTube channel. So I have been meaning to put out more content on here. You know how those things go. I've just been, I hate to use the term, but I've been busy. I basically work 2 shifts with my job. I come here to the office and I test people all day. Then I go home, spend time with my family, try to do a few things, and then I spend the nights writing. So my time is very eaten up by that. And then I do have the course and some other things that I'm trying to work on. But I do still plan to make more content for YouTube, both my normal self-help content and psychological content, and a few other things too. I think I'm going to be starting to upload the podcasts again. I had someone comment recently. I had uploaded 7 or so episodes of the podcast on YouTube. I was doing them both at the same time. Let me pause. I'll step back. So a podcast, hopefully you guys know what that is at this point. It's basically like a radio show, except it's not on the radio. You just download it or stream it from the internet. It's me talking. My podcast is called the Hardcore Self-Help Podcast, where I take questions from listeners, mental health questions, and address them directly. So how do I help a friend with borderline personality disorder? Or how can I raise my kids when I'm seeing anxiety in them when I also have anxiety? Or, why do some people cut themselves? All these different questions, I answer them directly. Or I just go off on one single topic and go deep into that in a topic that I'd like to talk about. So those are available on iTunes or Stitcher or basically any podcast app. You can also find them on my website. I'll put links for all this stuff in the description of this video, but the podcast is something that I would like to start uploading to here as well. I did that for a while, but it wasn't getting a lot of views, and it just didn't seem like it was that important to you guys. I'm doing it more for me to put them on here because my YouTube audience is pretty large, and it helps with the sort of overall distribution of the podcast. So even if it doesn't get that many views, it's nice to have it everywhere just in case and have that availability. And the spheres of the different, or spheres, or circles in the Venn diagram of the different audiences I have, from social media to the podcast to YouTube, they intersect, but they're not covering each other. So even if it's 1,000 people that listen on YouTube and 30,000 that listen on the podcast, those 1,000 people may not be represented in that other population, which is good. I want to be trying to reach as many people as possible. So I may start doing that. I'm undecided about the format. I don't think that I'm going to go through all the trouble of recording myself doing it. I had done that for a little bit, where I'm actually recording myself like this, answering the podcast questions, but that takes a lot of legwork in the editing. I might just kind of put an image there and go through, just put the audio into it. But that's something you can expect. And then I did want to say that I may be, just maybe, I might possibly be thinking about doing, a Christmas special video that will, I'll say, please a lot of you guys who originally subscribed to this channel for a different reason. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I think that's about all the updates I have for you guys. I've been rambling for about 20 minutes here. Hopefully some of you guys are still with me. I didn't put you guys to sleep, even though that is why some of you guys watch my channel. I'm gonna head out now. It's about 11:30. I screwed up and didn't bring my memory card, so the recording of the course stuff is not going to happen today. That's what I was planning on doing earlier, is recording some videos for the course. Instead, I'll go home and do a little bit more writing of scripts for the course, upload this video, work on some reports, stuff like that. Take care, guys. I really, really, really appreciate those of you that are still around, making a transition in my channel to doing mainly mental health and psychology related stuff. Is a huge shift. I know there's a lot of overlap between people who like ASMR videos and people who have mental illness of some kind, but that's not why you initially subscribed to my channel. So for those of you who are still here, I lost a few thousand of you, but there's a lot of you that are still sticking around. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll try to not let you down in terms of the quality of the content that comes out in the future. Hopefully this is still a channel that you can appreciate and that you can like. And of course, like I said, stick around. We'll see what happens around Christmas time. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.